Mr. Trade Representative, are you aware that the tariffs have been paused?
I am, yes.
When were you made aware of that?
Well, I understood the decision was made a few minutes ago. It's something
Sitting here,
under discussion.
Sitting here, under discussion. So did you know that this was under discussion, and why did you not include that as part of your opening remarks?
So typically what I don't do is divulge the contents of my discussions with
What are the
President
details of the
Congress.
pause?
Well, my understanding is that because so many countries have decided not to retaliate, we're going to have about 90 days.
No, excuse me? China increased their tariffs on the United States. Trump blinked.
What's the blink, sir?
What do you know about this pause? What are the details of it?
Well, the details, as I understand it, is that China continues to retaliate. Other countries didn't retaliate. The president 2 or 3 days ago said we wanted to negotiate with those countries that asked for meetings. That's what we're doing.
What are the details? How long is the pause? How many days? How many weeks?
I understand it's 90 days. I haven't spoken to the president since I've been in this
So the trade
hearing.
representative hasn't spoken to the president of the United States about a global reordering of trade.
Yes, I have. I've
And
just
yet
been in the hearing with you, sir.
But yet he announced it on a tweet? WTF? Who's in charge?
The president of the United States is in charge.
And what do you know about those details?
Well, as I mentioned,
It looks like your boss just pulled the rug out from under you and paused the tariffs, the taxes on the American people. There's no strategy. You just found out 3 seconds ago, sitting here, we saw you.
we've been discussing a variety
If
of
you came here knowing that you were going to be turned off, that these tariffs were going to be turned off, why didn't you include that in your opening statement? Why didn't you reference that as part of your testimony?
Well, I don't disclose my conversations with the president, sir.
These were specific questions we asked you all along. What's the strategy? These are real consequences for the American people and small businesses. I had a group of small businesses in my office earlier today talking about the impacts of these tariffs on aluminum and steel. This is amateur hour, and it needs to stop. What does this even mean for your negotiating strategy? How are you in charge of negotiation if the president is tweeting about this from wherever the hell he is?
The president was elected, and he runs the trade policy, and I advise him and execute his trade
Who
policy.
executes the trade policy?
I execute the trade
Did you
policy.
know
with the president.
that this was happening?
We have been discussing all kinds of
And there's another
options.
member of the cabinet, Bessent, who just canceled coming to the Hill to avoid talking about the market because it's in turmoil. This in just days because there was no strategy, there was no plan. The president chose to take actions that he didn't even have the authority to take. He's put our economy in disarray and near collapse. We have small businesses and Americans who are concerned about their well-being, people's retirement, people's 529 accounts went down because of this administration. We have people that are planning to send their kids to college this fall. People who are retiring whose benefits have declined. Is this market manipulation?
No.
Why not? If it was a plan, if it was always the plan, how is this not market manipulation?
It's not market manipulation, sir.
Well, then what is it? Because it sure is not a strategy.
We're trying to reset the global trade system.
You're-
That's offshored, offshored all of our factories.
And what has that done?
Offshored all of
How
our
have you
jobs.
done? How have you achieved any of that? But to enact enormous harm on the American people, which was our concern from the very beginning. Tariffs are a tool. It can be used in the appropriate way to protect U.S. jobs and small businesses. But that's not what this does. So if it's not market manipulation, what is it? Who's benefiting? What billionaire just got richer? And all the while, there are not even any Republicans left in this hearing. They all left because they don't even want to defend this. But meanwhile, the Speaker is rushing to the floor to pass a budget reconciliation to screw America by passing the biggest tax cut in history. on the backs of the American people? WTF? Who's in charge? Because it sure doesn't look like it's the trade representative. You just got the rug pulled out from under you. I wish I could feel some empathy, but the empathy I have is for the American people whose very well-being and livelihoods are being affected. This is not a game. This is real life. I yield back.
Thank you so much. I want to just get to the point. I want to start off by making sure we're speaking the same language, Mr. Ambassador. Do you agree that tariffs are a tax, yes or no?
They're a tax on foreign goods. Okay,
so I'm glad you're here to say that, because also economists say that 98% of that tax is passed on to the American consumer, right? 98 to 99% is passed on to the American consumer in higher prices. And it's going to fall disproportionately, especially on working Americans. So higher costs when it comes to food. 40% of our produce are produced out of the country. Cars, clothes, shoes, household goods, all of it. And yesterday, you said, quote, there'll be some short-term pain. I want to know, and I think my constituents want to know, how long is short-term pain going to last? Is it 24 months?
I don't think it's 24 months, no.
2 years?
I don't think it's 2 years.
The reason why, is it 3 years? Is it a month? Because here's the thing, you also said yesterday, the other thing you did say yesterday, is you said the trade deficit grew over 30 years. It didn't happen overnight, so this problem is not going to be solved overnight. So you're saying on one hand, it's not going to be solved overnight, but then the long-term pain, it's going to be short-term pain. That doesn't compute. People don't believe it. And here's the thing, just yesterday, it was said that it was going to be a $3,800 a year increase falling on working families and the cost of higher prices. It increased to $4,600. We had to actually cross that out because we made this board yesterday. What is the tax increase going to be tomorrow? Is it going to be $5,200? So, and the reason why is that we have different definitions of short-term pain. What was your last, before beginning Confirm at USTR, where did you work?
I worked at King & Spalding.
King & Spalding. How much does a partner make at King & Spalding?
Well, it depends on a lot of different factors. But
so I can pull up your financial disclosure. I don't have it in front of me. But one of the things that we're shown, it's about $1.5 million. My constituents don't make that. The average American consumer doesn't make that. The way we do it is every single month, we look at our budgets and see how much we spent, and then actually have to decide what do we have to pull back on.
I grew up in a mobile home working several jobs.
So here's
I
the
know
thing.
what it means.
Here's the thing. You
In
also
a mobile home.
You
That's where I grew up.
you also have a cabinet of billionaires. You have Lucknick, you have Bessent, you have the president himself, you have Elon Musk, Donald Trump, who has billions. So for them, $4,600 doesn't mean anything. But for the average worker, it does. So this is where I say, you guys are out of touch when it comes to things. And I recognize you're working a lot of different jobs. So I'm going to move on to ask a question. In your testimony, you said Ms. Sanchez said you are the acting head of special counsel. Aren't you also the acting head of the Office of Government Ethics?
I was recently assigned to that position, yes,
Correct.
Mr. Gomez.
So let me get this straight. You are the chief USTR representative, the active chief of ethics. You're also the chief whistleblower, and now you're leading negotiations of 70 countries. So where's your priority? Those other jobs, or is it the trade agenda?
Well, my first job is USTR, and we have staff at the other agencies
So
to
the
help
reason why
execute
it doesn't
that.
seem right, here's why. Because I've learned over the years, if you want to make somebody feel special, you give them more titles. Because in the end, who did Donald Trump said was actually running the trade agenda?
Well, the
Commerce
president,
Secretary Lucknick, that's who he said. Here's another question. Are you using Signal to communicate with the executive branch? Yes or no?
with the community, we do some logistics from time to time.
Okay, well, make sure you're, as required by the Presidential Records Act and Federal Records Acts, that you're submitting those for posterity.
We'll talk to our general counsel to see what's required by law.
Also, do you still stand by the formula that was used to assign the tariffs?
Oh, yeah, the White House economist, yeah, it's
Okay.
driven by the deficit.
Okay, the
of
reason
course.
why is that conservative economists have said that this formula was actually, there's miscalculations in the formula. That some people are even saying that it was ChatGPT was used to come up with
Oh,
the
well, that's
formula.
not true at all.
So here's
It's completely false.
Here's the
It's
reason.
completely false that
Because one of
ChatGPT was used.
The
That's
reason
just a
why
lie.
is like, nobody has confidence in what you're doing. Because you're basically, you guys are saying, trust us it's gonna be short-term pain. But here's what we see. We see a plan that doesn't make any sense, a formula that has flaws in it that people have torn apart, that you've seen the price increase in the stock market crashing and red lights blinking on a recession. So, and then you impose tariffs on an island that is inhabited by penguins. So the consumer confidence is plummeting and it's going down, down, down. And you guys are saying, trust us, that the Republicans, Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and you guys know what you're doing. So that doesn't pass the smell test. It doesn't make any sense. We worked on other issues before, and I hope we can work on other issues moving forward. But you guys need to be straight on who's running the show, because this is going to fall and hurt the American worker. With that, I yield back.